Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. And in this episode, we're going to be our review for Insidious, The Red Door, now playing in theaters, starring Patrick Wilson and the cast from Insidious 1 and Chapter 2. For the most part, it was a pretty damn good movie, I think, at least, compared to the other two. Dylan, why don't we start with your thoughts? And it will contain spoilers, by the way. Okay, Dylan, go ahead. I thought you were frozen. I was like,
I had to get at least one jump scare in there. Welcome everybody to the channel. It was a pretty good movie. It was a good sequel, I will say. Well, this is the direct sequel from Insidious Chapter 2, and we see Dalton is a little more grown up in this movie, and we also see Patrick Wilson back as Josh and pretty much the whole family. I'm not going to give too much away, but it was a little underwhelming for me. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I kind of lost the dread of the first two, but it still has that similar element of suspense and thrills that I'd expect from Insidious. But let me get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, I thought for the most part it was a pretty fine movie. I said damn good earlier because compared to the last two, I feel like at least now we're going back to sort of its roots. This one, it's interesting how they do these movies. I wonder if that's like an actual technique for horror films because they really constrict the amount of locations. I mean, this one had a good amount, but they were all very closed in or like closed walls and stuff. So that added to the horror element. And then plus the lighting, the cinematography and the color grading, I think added to the horror as well. The jump scares, I don't think were annoying. I think they handled it well for the most part. There wasn't a lot of things that they were trying to do some shots where there was like a ghost behind somewhere and then it just goes away. I like how they did that. I wish they stayed with that a little bit longer rather than, okay, we're expecting something. Because you could tell the music goes down and also that's okay.
At this point, I feel like jump scares are so predictable now. Like you said, like when the music starts, and I had the same reaction when we did Run Rabbit Run. When the music drops or when it raises, I can tell there's a jump scare coming now. And then when it happens, I'm not gonna lie, half the jump scares I didn't even like flinch at because it's like, oh, I saw it coming, right? And some of them we saw in the trailers too, like the MRI thing. Like I expected that, so I was like, oh, okay, they gave pretty much everything away in the trailer. So the jump scares I feel like were a little unsuccessful in this movie, but nonetheless, it was still pretty entertaining to watch. I did like the family moments between Dalton and Josh. I think actually Ty Simpkins really nailed this part. Yeah. I think he had a wonderful performance. He plays a really damaged character really well. You can tell the hypnosis from the last or the chapter 2 really affected both of them, right? In this movie, it seems like they're really trying to reclaim their lost memories, and it's affecting their relationship a lot. But that's why I love the first two also, because it was at that core, it was that father-son relationship. And I think they really rekindled that in this movie.
And I also think at its core, the message was that you just have to accept the past. You can't just leave it buried because your demons will come and get you eventually. But if you face it head on, there's a way of the next level in your life. And I thought that was really beautiful, especially the ending. I felt really bad for Patrick Wilson's character, Josh. At some moments, I was like, I felt like really bad for the guy. I didn't like the reason that Renee, Rose Byrne's character, gave about like the divorce and stuff. Like, I didn't really like that at all. I don't know. He needs to go get into Red Pill or no.
Insidious, the Red Pill.
Insidious, the Red Pill. There you go.
You see the red face demon, he's on Fresh and Fit or some shit.
Right. It's like, yeah, no, oh my God. I gotta make a meme of that later.
He's got the headphones and everything.
I'm mad that matches too good. He has the red face too.
The Red Pill demon.
He has a Bugatti. Right. No, I mean, what did you think about that whole dynamic? It seems like they love each other, and at the end it kind of seems like there's a chance to rekindle some things, but maybe I'm just nitpicking. But what did you think about that dynamic between these two?
I think it was pretty realistic. It was pretty fair. I mean, yeah, when we last left Josh, he was possessed, and he went into like this maddening fit of rage, and it pretty much traumatized his kid. So I kind of understood where the wife was coming from, right? She wanted to do what was best for the kids, right? And especially, they had the second chance where like Dalton could live like a normal life, where he didn't have all these traumatic memories and stuff. So I kind of understand that, but unfortunately, the thing about that is that they still have this sense of something is burning in their memory that it's like once it's in your head, you can't leave it alone. And that's what this film basically is Dalton and Josh trying to, find clues about their past and why they can't remember things. And then because this loss of memory is affecting their relationship, because in the beginning they were pretty, distant and almost combative with each other. Right. But I think at its core, I think it was still a pretty good movie. I think the family dynamic, like I said, was pretty good. We didn't get too much elements of the further in this movie than perhaps the first or perhaps even the last two movies that came out too. But I think they used it appropriately. I think there were certain moments where Dalton entered the further, and it was kind of like almost like his first time, coming back into it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I also like that the semiotics of the further being really foggy, and then these two have like mind fog or something like that. So it's really like unlocking different chambers in your mind.
It's almost like Will Byers, like from Stranger Things, in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's exactly. The further was all right. They used some random ass ghosts here and there just to kind of show that, oh, okay, they're getting back into it. I felt like they were just there for jump scares and whatnot. Really, at its center, the main villain is the red-faced demon guy. And I don't know. I felt like he looked scarier than he in the first
He only
movie.
showed up in like a couple of scenes. I'm not going to give too much of it, but I feel like we seen him more in previous movies. Like he felt like he's took a step back in this movie. And then like, I don't know, because like the ending kind of made it seem like it was open-ended. Like this won't be the last movie.
Right.
So perhaps if they're planning to do a sequel or a spinoff, we'll probably see more of him. But I feel like in this movie, he is pretty much the central antagonist of this franchise. But I feel like here he wasn't as prevalent, right?
Yeah, it was really weird. It was like a last minute kind of thing. I was like, oh, I'm here. And I mean, he's been like growling and shit like that, but it was really nothing. It was like POV shots, like from Evil Dead and stuff. It wasn't really anything that impressive, I think, from an antagonist like this. He definitely showed up at the end, but it was like so short. And the ending, in a way, felt kind of rushed. It was like weird. I didn't even know we got to the ending at that point. I was like, oh shit, we're here. And then it just ended. I was like, oh, okay. I wish that the movie probably could have been just a tad longer, just to sit in some moments. What did you think also of Dalton's roommate? Because she's like another part of the cast, and for the most part, I felt like they utilized her pretty good. What about you?
They should have got her. The red demon should have got her.
Just for that.
She was annoying. Fuck that shit. No, she wasn't. When she had that little instrument thing, I was like, the fuck. No, I thought she was all right. There are moments in this movie where it feels like it's definitely like filmed in 2023. Like Dalton's in college now, and he's having all these experiences with like all these frat bros and stuff, and then his roommate's like this liberal college girl. But yeah, it was all right for the most part. Like I said, I think at its core, I think Josh and Dalton are the primary focus of this movie, and it's about them really. And of course, we see like cameos like some of the other older cast too. We even saw Tucker and what's the other guy?
Spec.
So I thought that was pretty funny actually when they showed them. But I think perhaps I just wanted to see a little bit more too, because I feel like you said it was kind of rush.
Sure.
But I did like that we went back and forth between Josh and Dalton, because they're not mainly together in this movie, but they're having their own struggles in this movie, and they're dealing with their own memories. And I thought that was really nice that they came together. It almost kind of felt like Stranger Things in a way, because it's like they went through their own journeys, and at the end, that's when they rekindle and they solve their issues together.
Yeah, and it was a sweet message, I think. I just love seeing that dynamic, because this movie was a lot about fathers too, and I just love how they ended it on a high note, I feel, rather than something that's like, or whatever. It's like, damn, I feel horrible now.
Well, I thought we'd get a little bit more because I remember when we were talking in the Revisited, I thought maybe we'd go more into the lore behind the Further, or like why, and like maybe perhaps an explanation why they have these astral projections too. But I didn't really give too much of that. But no, I thought this movie was actually fine for what it was because, like I said, it's mainly about family, and like you said, the messages. Right. I like when actually horror movies try not to go too much into their own, lore a bit, because it's like it almost feel like nuanced in a way. It's like just a simple tale, right? It just happens to have like all these supernatural elements in it. So I thought it was fine for the most part, but I don't know. Like I said, it kind of felt open ended. So do you think perhaps we'll get another movie down the line?
No, I think probably, I feel like it's really weird to continue with these characters because, like, oh, brother, it's like that SpongeBob thing. I mean, we could probably get a spinoff. I know that a lot of people, there's like talks of the Red-Faced Demon spinoff. I think there's a lore that's something from 1700s or whatever. Unless they want to do something, because there's not really spin-offs. I mean, those are just prequel sequels, but if they actually do a cool spin-off on some of the ghosts that we see, and delve into that, or like a Tucker and Specs type of spin-off or something like that. They could, the sky's the limit, honestly, with some of these characters. I don't know how far. The Further is a cool sandbox to play. That's one thing that The Conjuring does lack. It's like you actually have this place, and now you could do something with it, and you could introduce characters. Elise could come back, whatever, she's Elise could be kind of, at least I feel like Elise would be like R2D2. Like helping out people, you know what I mean? Like that type of character. The sky's the limit, but I think it felt like this is the final time, sort of, we'd see these cast of characters. That ending felt kind of open-ended, but...
Unless it's like a generational thing where it's like, okay, maybe Dalton's the dad now, like for the next one, and then he has a son. And then it's kind of like this father-son dynamic, and it keeps going. But it's like, how much can you really push that
idea? It's like
idea?
Fast and Furious.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like Fast and Furious. And then, like, we still don't know much about the Red-Faced Demon, like why he's there in the first place. So maybe that motherfucker starts a podcast in the next movie or some shit.
Or he goes fresh and fit. Yeah,
well, I was going to say, we have an origin story for the Nun coming, so maybe he's going to get his own spinoff, perhaps, in the future.
I'd rather that. Yeah. I'd like to see that. I'm down for that. Yeah, because he's been the central, antagonist. That and the bride dressed in black or whatever. Yeah. But I feel like that was wrapped up already. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind for them to do something like that, for sure. I think there's a lot to play with in this franchise, if they do it right, at least. Overall, what would you rate this movie?
I think I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 for me. I mean, it was still pretty good. I still enjoyed it. I mean, like, the jump scares didn't get me too much in this movie, but I did like some of the family moments. And I think it's like I said, it still has some of the elements that I've seen from the Insidious movies, and the music was kind of there too. But probably 7 out of 10 for me. How about you?
I give it maybe 7.5 going to maybe 8. I thought it was fine. It was way better than the other two. I'm glad to see the cast of characters back, and also they grew up. Like, a lot of them grew up, and
I did like a lot of the art scenes, though. I'm not gonna lie.
The art scenes were really cool.
That shit made me feel so shitty about my own art. I was like, damn,
he's good. Dalton's really good.
I wonder if the Ty Simpkins actually drew some of those paintings too.
Oh, that'll be really cool. Yeah, like a behind the scenes featurette or something.
Right.
Yeah, I think the movie was fine. I think if you guys go check it out, you'll have a fun time at the movies. I don't think it's something to come home and rave about, or you'll really remember. It doesn't really stick with you. But for the most part, I think it's not a feel good movie, but you feel like, oh, I'm satisfied, sort of. There are some things.
That's a good word for it. Yep.
Yeah. So that is our review for Insidious: The Red Door. Again, now playing in theaters. Guys, if you like this video, actually like this video, or else I'll conjure something to you guys, or Dylan will, because Dylan's a scroll, by the way. But anyways, Dylan, take us away.
Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you shut the door behind you. Leave a like, comment, let us know what you thought of Insidious: The Red Door. Let us know what you think perhaps we'll see for the future of the franchise, and check out our other content. We do plenty of horror movie related reviews as well. Anything helps the channel, guys, but we love you. We appreciate you. But until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys. It's like shit. Triple heart attacks.
I'm mad you actually flinched.